Welcome back to Eye on South Asia. Let's move ahead. Sunil?
We have a very, again, interesting story about the educational system from Pakistan, which has its own religious minorities.
Right.
You know, this is like we have been talking about, it is a country with its own combination of different groups. And the religious minorities, even in that country, are being suppressed, and privately funded public schools and some of what they call madrasas. You know, in these two countries, if you look across the border in India, we have similar small groups of sanghs and whatnot, and they are, you know, all engaged in trying to impact the young mind about almost what you can call intolerance. It's about...
They don't preach tolerance, in short.
They are all about, it's my way, we are the majority, or if there is a smaller group there, ignore it, drop it, they don't exist, they should not be part of this society. And this study was sponsored by the Washington-based United States Commission on Religious Freedom and conducted by the International Center for Religion and Diplomacy.
Right.
And the man behind it, Leonard Leo, he said this study, the first ever study of its kind, documents how the public schools in Pakistan and privately run madrasas are not teaching tolerance but are exacerbating religious differences, you know, because it's a complex country. It has smaller groups, it has minorities. Then the students have to be taught to respect their brethren in the country. But very interesting study. It reflects on the country, it reflects on the society, and such similar studies should be taken everywhere where there is a complex society.
But something should be done about it too. It's not sufficient to just have studies probably substantiating what the general populace knows anyway or suspects anyway, right?
Right. But this is the first one. So its results have been tabulated and tabled right now, and of course there'll be constant pressure on the countries to make sure that they respect the complexity and the combination of the society there.
Definitely, especially while teaching the young minds.
True. And we have a story again in continued, you know, we have been following up on the Rajat Gupta. Rajaratnam is obviously taken care of, and Mr. Gupta is now in for a long haul. And the United States Securities and Exchange Commission now wants to question under oath either one or both Ratnam brothers, because they are key witnesses against Rajat Gupta.
Right.
And they are decided that they need to nail him down for somehow or the other. And they are saying they have a long list of witnesses, including the defendant, and there is possibly going to be the board members from Goldman Sachs and possibly Procter & Gamble, where Mr. Gupta was there and he had access to all this privileged information, and they'll be all one by one possibly paraded into the inquiry and to be brought in as witnesses.
Right.
Very sad, but there is all this time because there were tips that were given out, including for the Berkshire Hathaway's $5 billion investment into Goldman Sachs. All these leaks were making people richer, and privileged information was being leaked. Let's see what Mr. Naftalis, who is representing Mr. Gupta, has to say when the time comes, because he'll get an opportunity to grill these witnesses also.
Week after week we are talking about this, and we realize that they are just not letting it go, and rightly so.
They will not. They are very clear. They need to go after it. They need to... you heard what Preet Brar had to say last time. He said, no, we have a very strong position and we're not going to let it go. They're going to go after him. They're after him, and they're setting up, I think, sometime next year for the trial to begin. And so they're all gathering all this information.
Well, if you see the amount of money that has been involved in this, I don't blame them. They should make an example of this case, which they are doing, I guess.
Not good for us as fellow Indians, but there is some light in the hope in the next story, Nitya. This bright person, Divyando Sinha, who was from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, and he was just on a walk
with his family.
And a group of American kids, white kids, came in and attacked him, absolutely unprovoked. There is nothing. He is walking with his children, his wife, a stroll that he's taking after his dinner, and they just come and hit him, beat him left, right, and center. And finally
He lost his life.
and he was gone. And for some time, I'll tell you, the city, the state was not taking actions. And I commend the Indian community, whether it's an FIA or the local bodies of different groups, including individuals who had come in forward to make sure that this is not let go. I attended that prayer meeting. They were very, very serious about it. And now this decision has been made. There'll be 2 separate trials.
Right.
And Judge Bradley France from the New Jersey Superior Court has made this announcement. And these will be 2 separate because one of the lead guys, Stephen Contreras, who drove these kids to the location, has turned pro. And he has
decided to give information.
Correct,
Right.
about the other witnesses. So his trial will run separately starting on June 4th next year, and the other group will be tried from February 12th. And his wife, all of us, and I think everybody in this world is looking for a fair trial, a justice, and a proper punishment to these kids
Absolutely.
who took a life for no reason. I think he was like in early 40s. He deserved to live.
Irrespective of the age, Sunil, a hate crime for no rhyme or reason. And what is even more disturbing is the fact that it was perpetrated by young
For no
criminals,
reason.
right? There was no reason. And look at the age of those boys. They were hardly boys.
Unprovoked. Sad, but now we see the light of the day that there is a legal system which works and is taking it forward now.
Absolutely.
Good. And we'll follow it all the way. We have the other case about young Dhruv Ravi from Rutgers, of course, who has been taken out from there because of his broadcasting of the unfortunate
his roommates
action of Tyler Clementi, TC as he's called, led to such a depression in TC's life that he finally committed suicide. And Dhruv Ravi is Dharun Ravi is the person who is in trouble because of that. But Ravi's lawyers think otherwise. They think there were other reasons, not just this much, because what was happening at that time, if you see just the time when this kid committed suicide, there was a lot of gay and lesbian bashing going on all over the country.
Right.
It may have kind of added fuel to the fire, and they want to look at the actual private writings of TC, because he may have written in those notes.
He may have documented, right?
Documented, look, I am depressed because this guy did this, I am further feeling bad because this happened, and the other gay and lesbians are being, targeted.
Right.
So they may want to find out somewhere, some room to say it was not just this alone which caused TC to take this extreme action and give up his life.
Right.
There were other many associated reasons. Smart move, I think. And they have filed for it on November 11th, and let's see, initially the Superior Court of the New Brunswick area, they were not allowing, they said this has nothing to do with this case.
They had
but
removed
now,
it, right.
I think it's a valid point that Dharun's team brings up. The life was lost, but now, as per the law, you need to nail down the right culprit and give him a punishment according to what his role was.
His role, exactly. No one is denying his role, but we just need to see the extent of it.
And they're very clear, his lawyers are very clear, the only way to find out if TC's computer has additional relevant information is to allow the defense expert to examine it privately.
We'll have to follow the case and we'll have to see where it takes us.
We are taking it all the way as it progresses.
Right.
On the similar hate issues of bullying incidents, there was a summit called in the Hunter's College in New York City. About 300 students, I think despite weather conditions, came together, and it was a bullying prevention summit.
Right.
And it was so strange, the findings that were tabled, presented, very strange. We don't even think about them many times. The mother of a young kid going to school, she said, at the end of the year, I was going through the notebook of my son and I see notes which are so painful. Thank you for not bombing the bus. Was one of several such entries written in a Muslim student's yearbook. Just a young kid who happens to be Muslim and certain community or other communities have written in his notebooks, and the kid probably could not even share with his parents. And what kind of pain and suffering he must have gone with internally while his mother found out. And now, when this type of expose has come in, the White House officials especially, have very clearly said that if you tolerate these small things, it will escalate.
Definitely.
And Kiran Ahuja, who's director of the White House Initiative on Asian and Pacific Islanders, told the community that you need to come forward.
Definitely.
If you find anything, it is important for the South Asian community to hear these issues. And she said, I know our communities are engaged, but we tend not to speak up. We need to speak up.
No, Sunil, even otherwise, there has always been a ban on bullying, right?
Right.
Schools in America have a
But it still
very
exists.
strong ban in bullying in writing,
Yeah.
right? In
Yeah.
practice, I'm sure there is a different theory.
And somebody has to come forward and say, many times people don't
And
speak
that
up. They
is
say,
what-
let it be, take
Right.
it easy. And what they have found out is 62% of Asian American students have the highest rate of harassment. And actually, bullying in one particular segment, which is the Sikh students, is even higher, as Ahuja mentioned. And she said the study was based on a huge sample of about 6,500 students from age 12 to 18. Excellent. We really compliment this group that put the study together, and its findings should be made to more and more people, which will encourage in other parts of the country, and people will come forward, parents will come forward, children will come forward,
And they
students
have
will
to.
come
They
forward.
have to speak up. 12 to 18 is a very difficult age to begin with.
True.
And if you're taught at an earlier age to not talk about certain things, or to let it, or to keep it under the carpet, to brush it under the carpet, as they say, it's just going to escalate.
Because many times you see, like you heard about this killing last week in Brooklyn of this
Right.
man.
Right.
Now he is killed for no reason by two black Americans. So when the kids are watching or listening to their parents, many times the father was beaten up, by the time mother was abused, and they think they are not doing
Fear.
anything about
Right.
it, they develop that psychological fear, and they don't even
Definitely.
share with their own parents what they experience, because it's just passing on and on and on.
And
which is not-
they fear the repercussions, and they don't want to ever talk about it.
Yeah.
Right?
And I am glad that such a study was commissioned, and it should bring forward more such issues.
Absolutely. It's a step in the right direction.
Thinking of violence, and then on the other hand, we talk about Gandhi, and his grandson, Professor Rajmohan Gandhi, was at Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan in New York. Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan is the highest cultural institution of India in New York, and they had organized an event with TV Asia,
Right.
which is the #1 community channel in North America. And it was Meet the Author, where he was releasing his book, A Tale of Two Revolts, the Indian Mutiny of 1857 and the American Civil War, I think it was 1961.
Right.
And our own Mr. H.R. Shah, who is the chairman and CEO of TV Asia, he said Mahatma Gandhi, he was very attached to him and reminded the children who were there attending that the actions matter more than mere words. So just don't say I want to be honest, just don't say I want to be peaceful, just don't say
Practice.
that I am humble, I'll stand up, do it.
Exactly.
You know.
Practice what you preach. in
Exactly.
short.
That's what he meant by saying what he said. Wonderful words. And then Dr. Naveen Mehta, who is the former chairman of the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, he spoke on behalf of the Bhavan. He spoke about the neglected history of the suppressed Indians around the time when the revolution took place in 1861. So I would love to go through the book, and we'll probably touch it once again. And
Definitely.
when Professor Rajmohan Gandhi is around, we would like to bring him to the show and see.
We'll talk more about the book.
Exactly
right?
true.
Okay.
So
You have to hold that thought right there. Okay. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.